Another quality that the Prophet had before Islam and after Islam was ties of kinship. He kept the ties of kinship, alayhi salatu wasalam. And this is something, brothers, we're very weak at when it comes to our family members. We abandon our siblings. Some of us haven't spoken to our family members for a long time. We avoid them. We don't care about them. It's not Islam. And sometimes I get worried. The older generation were unique when it came to ties of kinship. Silatul arham. Shocking. When I was young, before mobiles came out, I used to see my father. He had a book, a small book, a little notebook he had. And on there were all these people's names, family members, their names and their numbers. I mean, one of the earliest phones that came out was Sony Ericsson. It was actually called Ericsson first before them and Sony joined. My father, everyone's number was written on there. It's called a phone book, right? I remember as a kid, I asked him, I said, Dad, what is all of these numbers? What is this all for? He said, I have to call back home people, the family. Back home, they call the people, the money, the everything. My dad told me, when he came to the UK and he landed, whatever was left over from the money he landed on, before he went left or right anywhere else, that money he had, he went to a money transfer company to transfer it back to his family. So when you look at the older generation, the ties of kinship, qaraba, how they know about it worries me, the younger generation, right? Even if they're with their siblings, they're not with them, they're on their phone. Some family members, they talk to you more on the phone than face to face. When you're with them face to face, you hardly say anything to each other. But on the WhatsApp so if you're a person who's not good with communication and anything like that, just create a family WhatsApp. And every now and then just say, Assalamu alaikum, how are you guys all doing? And inshallah ta'ala, that might be a way to keep ties of kinship. Allah speaks about the dangers of those who cut the ties of kinship. فَهَلْ عَسَيْتُمْ إِن تَوَلَّيْتُمْ أَن تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَتُقَطِّعُوا أَرْحَامَكُمْ. To cut the ties of kinship. Look, keeping the ties of kinship has nothing to do with the people keeping ties, people keeping relationship with you. If they've chosen to boycott you, it doesn't justify you boycotting them. You still have to find out how they're doing and everything. Of course, you don't have to be friends with everybody. Just find out, are you all right? Is everything good? Especially the immediate family, your brothers and sisters, your parents, your children. Those are immediate. You have to make sure that you are aware of their well-being. وَلِذَلِكَ كُفَّارُ قُرَيْشِ, the Arab pagans, one of the things that they wanted to belittle the Prophet for was, you're cutting the ties of kinship. Look what you're doing to us. The message you're coming with is cutting the ties of kinship. That's very dangerous for somebody to do that. To cut the ties of kinship. And he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, was not like that. When the Prophet came back home to his wife Khadija, after he came home, and he just saw Jibreel, and he was like, what did I just see? He came back home, and he sat in front of his wife Khadija, and she said the following words to him. After he informed her of what he saw, she said, Kalla wallah, la yukhzika Allahu abada. Allah is never going to forsake you. Never. Never will He ever forsake you, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? He said, the first thing she said, إِنَّكَ لَتَصِلُ الرَّحِمِ. You keep the ties of kinship.